In The Shawshank Redemption, Andy Dufresne finds a maggot in his food, which is then fed to Brooks's pet bird. The American Humane Society monitored the filming of this scene and insisted that only a maggot which died of natural causes could be used as food.
Everything from the smallest insect to the largest mammal. We believe that for the sake of entertainment, everybody should go home alive.
That didn't always happen in the early days of film, so the guidelines are intended to ensure humane conditions for animal actors.
I broadly agree with this practice. If you want a certificate that says that no animals were harmed during the making of this production, then all animals in front of the camera, even the horrible cruelty ones, need to go unharmed. Amores Perros caused a lot of controversy when it was released back in the year 2000, mainly due to the realism of the dogfight scenes. But the end credits claim that no animals were harmed during the production. In some countries, this notice actually came at the start of the film rather than the end, in order to let the audience relax.
So we have a lot of months in advance with a great trainer, Larry Casanova was called. And this guy, he was an animal lover, and he trained all these animals, and he got these street dogs to, I put Emilio Echeverria, the actor of Chivo, to really spend months with these guys in order that when he walks, the dogs were really attached to him. So you can see that in the film. And then obviously Gael Garcia Bernal or the other actor, they were terrified about dogs. And these dogs were real fight dogs, that are super difficult to control because they are beasts that they can really bite you. And we have several events that were very close to have an accident, but they have to overcome their fear.
According to the Internet Movie Database, for the scenes where the dogs are meant to be injured, they were heavily sedated. Now, I know this film was shot in Mexico where the rules might be different, but I don't think sedating a dog for a movie counts as doing no harm, as any sort of sedation comes with risks, including a small chance of death.
Terminate with extreme prejudice.
Apocalypse Now might well be my favourite Francis Ford Coppola film, but it was far from a smooth production. Francis's wife, Eleanor Coppola, documented the stress of production in her film Hearts of Darkness, including Francis's desperate search for an ending.
In the script, Kurtz has trained a tribe of local Montagnard Indians as his private army. Rather than dress up Filipino extras every day, Francis has recruited a tribe of Ifugao Indians from the mountains to the north. There was a rumor on the set that until recently, the Ifugao were practicing headhunters. Last Saturday they had a feast. The old men of the tribe sat in the priest's house, enchanted. I was interested in photographing the actual ritual that they performed. They began to kill some chickens and look at their bile and tell the fortune of the tribe. And then they killed some pigs in a very sacrificial way. By this time, I felt that there was something very profound and moving about this experience. So I ran back to the house to get Francis. And I said, you've got to see this because they're going to kill a caribou. And he was writing and didn't really want to come, but I really encouraged him to come back to the location. And we got back there just maybe 10 minutes before they kill this caribou in this ritual way. Caribou was standing there and they just seemed to come out from nowhere and just kill it very quickly with these big machetes, and it fell to the ground. And there was something very beautiful and strong and profound about these people who killed this animal and then they all ate it.
Francis Ford Coppola got the tribe to repeat the ritual for the camera and intercut it with the death of Marlon Brando's character. Now, I'm not a squeamish vegan. I'm not even a vegetarian. I'm a meat-loving omnivore. I know where meat comes from, and that means an animal has to have its life taken from it so I can consume it. And if that is for sustenance, I am fine with it. If one of Francis Ford Coppola's family were making a documentary about the tribe which performs this ritual, then the inclusion of that footage would be one thing, as that's real life. But this is fiction, and I don't believe an animal should be killed for entertainment, particularly when this scene could have been shot as a montage, implying the animal's death in the same way that it implies Brando's.
You can never know the jungle well enough. This clandestine expedition was imprudent, apart from being an insult to our government.
My brother-in-law is a world-famous scientist.
I have a weakness for cannibal movies. I don't know why, I think the fear of being eaten is probably innate to most animals. And for some reason Italy makes the trashiest exploitation films and therefore the best. This one was titled Slave of the Cannibal God in America. It was called Prisoner of the Cannibal God in the UK. In Italian, it is La Montagna del Dio Cannibale, or something kind of close to that.
Henry always had this on him.
This film was one of the 72 titles on the Video Nasties list and therefore banned for a while in the UK. But it actually has something those other 71 films didn't, which is to say 2 mainstream stars, Stacey Keach and Ursula Andress, the latter being undressed for much of her screen time. But that and the very clearly fake scenes of excessive gore pale next to the acts of real-life animal cruelty, including one scene of a monkey being eaten by a snake.
La scena delle scimmie non è che per giustificarmi, in realtà la volontà di metterla tra le...
The director, Sergio Martino, has expressed his regret for filming that scene. He said it was not his intention for the monkey to die. He shot the scene at the suggestion of the animal handler, and the stunt went wrong. But why that footage is not on the cutting room floor is beyond me.
Sì, peccato di cui mi dispiace.
If you purchase the Shameless release of the movie, which comes in these lurid yellow cases, the film has been re-edited, not by the distributors but by the filmmaker himself, to add additional footage but also to lessen the impact of those animal cruelty scenes, though not remove them entirely. This movie was made at a totally different time, and you won't get far judging art of the past by the standards of today. Sadly, the further you look back into filmmaking history, the more these things seem to happen. Horses would often get injured in stunts where they had to fall over, and I'm sure we all know what happens to horses with broken legs. Broadly, I am against the censorship of these movies if it were done by a third party, but if a filmmaker wanted to re-edit their films, then I guess we have to let them. It is theirs after all.
Mind the banisters, son.
Oh, I can't hold it, Dad.
Don't worry, son. I shifted more pianos than you've had hot dinners.
Cream, Mr. Shifter. Like refreshment.
Thank you most kindly, madam.
My reason for mentioning all these examples is not to ruin your enjoyment of them, or any film, or even any teabag advert. But like a meat eater should know what they are eating and how it is sourced, I feel the viewers of these movies should know what has happened in the name of cinema.
We would like to remind you that Wednesday at 9 p.m. here on Pantheon, we'll be presenting part 1 of The Green Inferno, the dramatic film testimony of an extraordinary adventure that took its protagonists all the way back to the Stone Age.
Which brings me on to the last film I'm going to talk about in any detail. A movie so extreme that its reputation precedes it. Cannibal Holocaust. This movie contains several animal deaths, including the decapitation of a giant turtle, which is then cracked open like a tin of tuna, butchered, cooked, and then eaten. In later releases of this film, the director, Ruggero Deodato, has covered much of this footage with lens flare, but even then, it's a tough watch.
You think this is bad? This is nothing.
The difference between this movie and pretty much all cannibal movies is that it is very well made. The animal deaths, often shot in unflinching close-up, help sell the staged human deaths which are more implied. That's if you're still looking at the screen to see them happen.
This is anything but a well-organized safari with all the comforts.
The film crew that are main characters in the movie are arseholes, tormenting and even torturing these tribespeople for the sake of their bad taste salacious documentary that they're making. By the end of the film, I think I wanted them to be killed.
I wonder who the real cannibals are.
And that is broadly the film's point. The filmmakers were morally worse than the tribe that eat people, as they should know better. And I think the makers of this film are also commenting on themselves by saying it. But that's not to say that I think this warrants the death of those animals, nor am I justifying it. I'm just saying I understand the movie's point, and maybe as a viewer of this content, I'm partially to blame.
The new film, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, has added something new to the discussion. The apes in the film were created by computer, and no animals were used in the filming. At an event promoting the film, filmmakers found support from a prominent organization. Claire Richardson is president of the Dian Fossey Gorilla Fund, which protects mountain gorillas in Congo and Rwanda. Richardson says she appreciates the work of those who protect animal actors.
But I think we send a stronger message when we say, phase it out, people. You really don't need it.
This video has been a bit of a bitter pill, so I doubt it's going to do big business on YouTube. If you happen to think more people should see it, then you could do all those algorithm friendly things that helps it get seen by other people, like, sharing and subscribing. If you want to help me make more content, then you can keep me hydrated by sending me the price of a cup of coffee via this site. There's a link in the description. I'm Scott Kingsnorth, and I'm making a movie.